Well, I've got the privilege tonight, Tuesday night, of speaking to Christopher Eubank Jr. He is just 72 hours away from, I think, Mr. Eubank, this is becoming quite an epic event. Can you feel it?
Yeah, it's special. It's one of those fights that is you know, it stands out, it's got a different feel about it. It's got a different energy. There's a different language, a different story about it. People are really invested on both sides. They're very passionate about this. And a lot of people are very sure on the outcome too, on both ways, both sides. They're so sure that either I'm going to win or Ben's going to win. It's very interesting to see and be a part of.
A lot of people have said to me over time that big box office events involving you haven't always gone your way. But I said, but the fantastic thing about this event is, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, but you've naturally been able to play the heel in a certain way and you've kind of enjoyed it.
What do you mean by the heel?
Um, there's always a good guy and a villain in big promotions, or very often there is. You've been able to, I'm not saying you're playing a villain, but arriving in your car last night at the red carpet, the fact is that there's a lot of celebrity around this event. The fact that you're teasing with the meals out and about. Um, you've been able to, I don't know, it's just, there's more box office about this, and you've been able to make it more box office in that way. Everyone's living off every little crumb they can get as top line news stories. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I mean, anything me or him do is gonna be magnified and talked about. And obviously, I knew that coming into this fight. And it's already such a huge story. But why not make it even huger? Why not do things or um or say things which are gonna spark interest.
Mm.
Connor has really, and I'm not gonna say he hasn't sold the fight, because that's not really what I'm doing. Everything I've done and said is not to sell the fight. That's just my personality. That's just how I wanted to be for the lead up to this fight.
But we are seeing more fun from you. I've been with you before where you've been a stone cold killer in the build up, you know? And in this one, I don't know if it's fair to say you're having more fun, but it comes across that way.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just an age thing. I've got to a stage now where I'm just really not bothered
Mm.
about things, or it's just the way I wanted to come at Connor, and also just to be myself. I don't know. It's probably a mixture of both. Of It's probably a mixture of a few different things. There's many different ways I could have approached this fight. I could have been serious. I could have been mean and angry like Connor has been. We could have both done that, and that would have, yeah, that excites people. Oh wow, what's going to happen? It's scary. But I didn't feel the need for that, and I don't feel that Connor, he doesn't present enough of a threat for me to be super serious. You um, would I be eating cakes and KFC and burgers before a fight with Canelo or Triple G? Absolutely not. But you know, the, you know, this is a different kettle of fish. This is a different type of fight. This is a different type of narrative. Um, and I'm very relaxed, and I guess that shows in the things that I've said and done over the last 8 weeks.
I spoke to Ronnie Davis last night, who was obviously in your corner, and I said, Are you sure that Chris isn't underestimating Conor? And sometimes, in your words, psychologically, I'm not saying you're underestimating him,
No,
but
I am, Gareth.
yeah,
I've gone on the record saying that I absolutely am 100% underestimating him. I don't see any threat. I don't see any danger. Listen, anything can happen in a fight. I understand that, but I'm looking at it from an ability standpoint, looking at what he's done in his career versus what I've done. I can't prepare for him like I would prepare for a Triple G or a Canelo. There's just no need. This is not about an 8 week training camp or a 10 week training camp. This is about a lifetime of dedication and experience and hardship and sacrifice that I've put into the sport, which he has not done yet. Um, I've done too much. I've been through too much for someone of his caliber to be able to stay with me and live with me in that ring. That's how I feel. Um, we're gonna find out in a few days if my calculations were incorrect. You know, because a lot of people in the industry are giving this kid a shot. Are saying that he's going to be too much for me. I'm too old. He's too strong. He's too fast. The weight cut, the rehydration clause, the momentum, the trajectory, all this narrative that his supporters are using. Um, that's what we're going to find out on the night. It's going to be very interesting.
a couple of things on the business end of it then. You mentioned the weight cuts. Have you got a nutritionist in the end, or are you still doing it yourself? And are you on course? And where are you with the weight cut?
The weight's going well. I spoke to Salt Bay and he gave me a few tips on how to cut those last few pounds. Um, I'm guessing by the fact that you're not smiling, you didn't get the joke.
No, sorry, I missed. You
I said
spoke.
I spoke to Salt Bay. He's the
Oh,
guy who sprinkles the salt on steaks. Yeah, me and him had a little chat.
I didn't know what he was called. Actually, I didn't know what he was called, but I've seen the video. I didn't know he was called Salt Bay. Okay,
He's one of the most famous chefs in the world. I'm
right.
surprised by that. Listen, the weight is it's coming off clean. It's coming off pound by pound, and yeah, I'm sure you can see it in my face and my arms at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Um, I'm confident. I'm happy. It is tough. It is painful. I've got right here. I've got a box of tuna fish and cucumbers and broccoli. It's boring. It's agonizing sometimes when you get close. You know, but this is what we do. This is what we have to do as fighters.
Difficult question to ask you. You and I had an interview like this a few weeks back, and you said you hadn't spoken to Dad yet, and you wanted him in the corner. Obviously, without going into too much detail on it, but it is a question I have to ask. Dad said about boycott. He asked people to boycott the fight. If you could give a message to him, I don't know if you are speaking to him at the moment, but do you want him there on Saturday night? And what difference would it make to you if he was there or wasn't?
I've told him I want him there.
Yeah.
As far as the boycott thing, I didn't hear that come from his mouth. And I didn't hear him. Did you hear him physically
No,
say
I
that?
didn't. No, I haven't seen it. No, no, I haven't.
Because so I'm not really looking too much into that. It's a shame he hasn't been a more integral part of the build up of the training camp. I have trained myself for this fight. I was hoping that he would do it, but he's chosen not to. And he has his reasons, he has his worries, he has his reservations on this fight, on me making the weight in a safe manner.
Mm.
he does see Conor as a killer, as a dangerous guy, like a lot of other people do. He's one of those guys. He thinks the same thing. And so with that, with that in mind, he doesn't want me, he doesn't want to risk anything when it comes to his son's safety for obvious reasons. We've both been through a very tough time over the last year with what happened to Seb. So I understand it. I do. But I also understand what I'm capable of, what I'm able to overcome, what I'm able to achieve. When it's all said and done, I'm going to make him proud.
Well, I think you put a message out, didn't you, saying this is for you, Dad?
Yeah, I said it. And it is. This is for him. This is probably the first fight in my career where it hasn't actually just been for me. All my other fights, I wanted to win for me. I wanted to become a better fighter. I wanted to build my name. I wanted to make money. Um, I wanted to, climb the ladder. For this fight, it's not for me. It's for my father. It's for my brother. It's for family.
Final question then. You and I have talked so much about what Dad has taught you over the years and what you've got from him. You're part of him. You carry his DNA. All of those things. I know the stories in the past, going to Cuba, living in Vegas, all those things. Him trying to steer you away from boxing and tests for you. I know you're huge on respect. I watched your Sport Bible interview about, no, you can't put me in with that person. No, I'm not going to talk about that person. You're a very respectful person. You always have been. I'm sure you always will be. You've learned so much from Dad. Is there anything you feel Dad has learned from you?
Um, it's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. What could Eubank Senior have learned from his son? I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that. I really think that that's a question you'd have to ask him. Um, I would hope that he's learned that he can trust in his son, that he can that he can that he can sleep well, knowing that his son will take care of things, not just in the boxing world, but in life in general. I'm a very reliable and loyal person. Um, you know, so I hope that he would know or have learned those characteristics from me. Um, yeah, I guess that's it.
I'll have to ask you that one in a few weeks' time when you've had the fight and thought about it, and because it's a
Yeah,
fact.
I'd probably think a bit more on that one, because it's a great question. I don't, no one's ever asked me that before.
Listen, I really appreciate the time this evening. I'll see you at Media Day. See you at the press conference. Thank you so much for your time. Sleep well. Don't eat too much.
All right, Gareth. Appreciate it.